the hashtag. If you want to share any stories, etc., you can use the hashtag. So you can share after in our social. Okay, DFCAT is powered by the Department of Management, Entrepreneurship, and Digital Business of the Cybersecurity Technology. We'll discuss today the house and works. We'll have a keynote talk from Dr. Elias Pedilias about the house and works of sustainable digital futures. And then we'll have a panel discussion about our tech innovation ecosystem, how we can do it more sustainable. You can also join the conversation. I will moderate. By the way, I'm Francis Geri. I'm a startup journalist. I think all of you probably know me. Not. Yeah, but let's start because we want to have also networking after. Elias, the floor is you for the discussion, etc. For the keynote talk.
Thank you very much, Panis. Thank you very much for coordinating this event. As Panis said, this is the first event that is organized by the newly established Department of Management, Entrepreneurship, and Digital Business. You'll hear more from us. We focus on the intersection of very important and relevant topics of both theory and practice. So today, my intention is to give some food for thought, some theoretical food for thought, because a panel discussion will follow later. So I'm primarily drawing from more from the literature, not from the theoretical angle as an academic. And then we'll have the panel of the practitioners to give us the more practical perspectives. So I'm going to discuss, investigate, theorize on the notion of sustainable digital futures. Is something that is theoretically and practically important nowadays. Both academics start looking to how they can understand better this condition, and the practitioners at the same time how to digitalize in sustainable ways. So it's both theoretically and practically important. So in the context of this presentation, I will provide some definitions and obstacles concerning the two major pillars that are brought together to establish the notion of sustainable digital futures, which is the digital transformation on the one hand, and the sustainability from the other hand. Then I will move into some questions, open questions, that we don't have any answers at the moment, and perhaps over the next few years will trouble us, and we'll look into finding answers both from the practical and the academic dimension, and are important in terms of understanding how we can eventually reach a state where businesses are digitalizing, transforming on this dimension, but in sustainable ways. And I will focus particularly in the arenas of entrepreneurship, innovation, management, ownership, which are recognized, at least from the academic perspective, that are important arenas where the needed transformations need to manifest, where the real dance needs to take place. So, talking about digital transformation, at least from an academic perspective, we refer to the adoption of digital technologies by organizations, and these digital technologies are important in terms of facilitating major business improvements. We also realize that because of the emergence of new technologies, Industry 4.0 technologies, digitalization is about the adoption of these technologies, which relate to artificial intelligence, machine learning, smart robots, IoT, automation, VR, AR, and so on and so forth. So we also began to acknowledge that both new and existing organizations face the challenge of adopting these technologies to be able to realize entrepreneurial outcomes, such as new products or services, such as autonomous cars, new processes, because entrepreneurship is not only about products and services, such as deliveries using drones or more smart robot-based manufacturing, and also new business models. That is something that we more recently come to appreciate that we should, this is an area that we should invest in. in terms of the adoption of new technologies. We've got companies adopting more and more the blockchain, the NFTs to establish business models around these new technologies. Unfortunately, we have a number of obstacles that obstruct businesses from adopting digital technologies, like many times the digital agility and strategy that perhaps smaller firms are not in a position to use. So digital agility is about realizing opportunities, but at the same time having the flexibility and the means, capabilities, and resources to be able to realize opportunities linked to the adoption of digital technologies to deliver entrepreneurial outcomes. And strategies is something that we should think of in a formal way to strategize around the adoption of new technologies. And this is something that perhaps is missing from smaller firms. The inability many times to comprehend emerging technologies on behalf of certain business owners, managers, and so on and so forth. Many times keeping up with the trends is very difficult because some business managers or owners are occupied with other more relevant and urgent things. Also the dynamic capabilities concerning innovation and market sensing. So to use digital technologies to create new products or services needs to be coupled by a capability to be able to engage in a process that eventually materializes these outcomes, or market sensing, to be able to see, understand, to be aware of relevant opportunities so that relevant technologies can be used to help the organization to deliver new products or change models and so on and so forth. Also, many businesses have non-digital business models, and the challenge is how they can engage in more evolutionary changes concerning the adoption of digital-based business models, especially business models that draw on the more recent Industry 4.0 and emerging technologies. And also, many times the clash that is in the minds of many business owners between innovation and tradition. So not wanting to innovate a lot because they may lose control, they may eventually be acquired by larger organizations, which could be a blessing for some business owners. But for some family businesses, for instance, it's not a bless, it's a fear that they are losing their family wealth, the socio-emotional wealth of the family. Now, sustainability, which is the other important axis that we need to bring together to understand the notion of sustainable digital futures, is about continuity, ability to reproduce, ability to give to the next generation something at least of equal value that we have at the moment. Now, if we bring this definition in organizational context, we've got the commercial sustainability of organizations, that they need to be sustainable across the generations. But at the same time, they need to engage in producing, engage in operating in ways that they do not harm their stakeholders, or to give something to the community and to the next generation of either owners or stakeholders, something that is of equal value that we have at the moment, at least. We also come to realize that sustainable entrepreneurship is a very important mechanism for businesses that wish to innovate, so they can engage in innovation in a sustainable way. So sustainable entrepreneurship is about the creation of new products, services, processes, business models, but having at the same time in mind how this can influence the community and other stakeholders. So we can create new products, new services, but we should not produce any harm to our stakeholders, other employees or communities, but at least to try to generate some non-economic value in the form of environmental or social value to these stakeholders. So this is a generic definition that is not applying to digital sustainability, not yet. So sustainability obstacles, unfortunately, many businesses are unable to engage in strategies that somehow combine non-economic and economic goals. They do not know how to act sustainably. They don't know what kind of initiatives, new products, new processes, new services that make sense in terms of producing both economic and non-economic value. The lack of resources that many smaller businesses have, especially people and money, which are important in terms of engaging in sustainable practices. Non-engaged employees, not realizing that the relevant culture needs to be in place so that it can motivate employees within to come up with initiatives that have both an economic and a non-economic sense. And also the lack of information or the inability to keep up with the trends because many business owners or managers, they are occupied with other more urgent things concerning their everyday business. Now, bringing these two notions together can help us to start establishing an understanding of what is this sustainable digital futures about. This is something that is relevant now. This is something that we research, we try to understand. So taking some elements from the two previous definitions, I will try somehow to conceptualize in my own terms what this sustainable digital future is about, and perhaps the panel can give us also their perspective. So sustainable digital future may perhaps involve digital transformations that bring into existence radically new products, processes, and services. So I'm taking the sustainable entrepreneurship definition, which I explained earlier, to produce gain for organizations. Okay, but this gain can also be gain for employees or other stakeholders. It doesn't necessarily concern the profits of the owners. And non-economic gains. These non-economic gains can be either social or environmental gains. So if we find a way to radically engage in the adoption of new digital technologies to develop new product services and so on and so forth, but we can do this having a sense of balancing, combining, intersecting economic and non-economic goals would be ideal. So organizations need to sustainably manage their triple value dynamics. So as I said, these triple value dynamics can be non-economic and economic. And also, we need to also consider some ethical aspects concerning the functioning organizations. We know that digitalization raises concern, for example, how we can bring together human and people and machines within organizations to work together. So it also touches the ethical dimension as well. And also we start to realize that certain arenas, certain areas, certain practices of the organization perhaps are more important in terms of understanding what transformations we need to facilitate to be able to effectively combine digital transformations and sustainability at the same time. So entrepreneurship, innovation, I'm bringing this as one dimension. Management and ownership are perhaps key aspects that we need to consider and think of what transformations within these arenas, practices are needed to be able to combine digitalization and sustainability. So I have considered here some questions under the how and what dimension, which are perhaps important in terms of navigating our efforts to realize how, as academics or as businesses, we can understand better the notion of digital, sustainable digital futures and what transformations we need eventually to realize this futuristic notion. So firstly, starting with the how questions, without giving any answers here, perhaps the panel can help us with this. How do we consider sustainable digital future, the content, what it's about, read, to come with an agreed upon definition, which is currently absent from the literature. How this end can be conceived within the business context, because differently we can understand sustainable digital futures at a different level, broader societal level, smart cities and so on and so forth, and different for the organizational level, and perhaps different for different business sizes, smaller firms, larger firms. The essence of sustainable digital futures may differ with the firm size, or perhaps the firm age as well. Younger firms versus family businesses. It would be interesting to understand how this changes with these parameters. How do we go there? How do we reach, the state that we call sustainable digital futures? How should we learn? Again, transformations have been linked with specific types of individual and organizational learning, because learning with organizations is multi-level. It's not only about individuals. It could be about teams. It could be also about the organization learning and acquiring knowledge within specific routines. So is it about double loop learning, which is transformative? Is it about triple loop learning, which is reflective learning on our learning? Is it about transformative learning, different types of learning that we need to acknowledge their essence? Or how much should we experiment in terms of trial and error to be able to go there, sustainable digital futures? How do we create and balance economic and non-economic value? I talk about balancing, I talk about integrating economic and non-economic value, but we don't have a very solid idea in terms of how we can bring these two mechanisms together strategically or other ways, or to integrate them in the practices of organizations to be able to think of innovating, but at the same time, in our thoughts would be, a balance between economic and non-economic value. Under the what dimension, what are the practices, systems that need to be transformed to go there? Also, at what pace, speed? Do we have enough time? We don't have enough time, so we need to act fast. So a key question that, again, should be in our mind. And what transformations do we need in relation to entrepreneurship, innovation, management, ownership? Something that I will look into in the next slides. Or other practices, apart from these practices here, that we need to transform, are important. And because in everyday life we cannot do without tensions and obstacles, we also need to understand the obstacles or the tensions that come into existence while we try to balance economic and non-economic goals whilst we attempt to use digital technologies to innovate. So these are the three arenas that I will refer to in a bit, and I will look into what kind of transformations do businesses need and how we can go about and engage in these transformations in sustainable ways. So starting with the arena of entrepreneurship innovation. Some things may be already known to you. So what digital transformations do businesses need under these dimensions? We need more startups drawing on Industry 4.0 technologies to establish around radically innovative business models, because now the business model is playing more than any type of distinct type of innovation, either in product or the service dimension. We need business models that draw more on blockchain, NFTs, metaverse, machine learning, artificial intelligence, on automation, which is important. We also need existing firms to realize the need and to understand how they can engage into the more adoption of artificial intelligence and other Industry 4.0 technologies, to evolve their business models, to change their business model, to establish partial business models that have digital dimension. Obviously, we recognize that businesses, people within require upskilling. Businesses require the adoption of dynamic capabilities or agility, as I mentioned earlier, or how strategies can incorporate goals and practices that are linked to digital transformation. Transformative learning, as I explained earlier, and AI capabilities, which is a different type of capabilities for organizations, which is essential in terms of enabling organizations to understand gaps in the market and realize these gaps with the effective adoption of artificial intelligence and other Industry 4.0 technologies. And again, innovation processes, we know that innovation processes, you know better, they take time to realize into successful business model services, and the success is very limited. Eventually, how can we engage artificial intelligence, machine learning, which deals with the processing of big data, more precision within the innovation process, so that we can reduce risks, we can reduce costs, and we can realize outcomes that have more prospects of being successful in terms of products or services. Now, another key question under this arena is how can these transformations be done, accomplished in a sustainable way? Obviously, we need these tech-based innovations to be strategically approached, and these strategies need to incorporate and balance between economic and non-economic goals. So, more recently, the European Union talks about the digital twins, which is about combining sustainability and the green dimension. It's not only about the green dimension, it's also about the social dimension. This is something that I have realized as a guy. So how can we come about, and I mean, depending on the nature of the products or services that we develop, drawing on digital technologies, to acknowledge what kind of economic and non-economic value can be generated out of our efforts to develop new products, and how we can incorporate these considerations within our strategy. So that, for example, businesses can engage in the adoption of more smart technologies within their production, for example. At the same time, they can realize a non-economic goal in terms of protecting the environment. So they can they engage in more smart manufacturing, at the same time reduce the CO2 emissions of their organizations. So this could be, I mean, if strategically approached, an example of balancing economic and non-economic goals. Sometimes it's not only about directly thinking about products or services, also thinking about our organization itself, how we can harness artificial intelligence or other industry 4.0 technology to address societal challenges either within the organization or within the communities in which our businesses are embedded. For instance, using technologies to improve the working environment for our employees, or the standard of living of the community members that live in the surroundings of our organization. At the same time, doing this can bring us more, I would say, indirect benefits, because we know that improving the working environment and having more motivated employees, more productive employees, this will enable us to have more efficiencies and perhaps better functioning for our organization. And again, the ethical and responsible dimensions of our innovations, these are also aspects that need to be considered so that digitalization can be effectively combined with sustainability, such as protecting human jobs. So we know that automation will eventually replace human jobs. How we can go about and protect some jobs, or somehow provide the opportunity of these people finding a job elsewhere. So these are some aspects that have been discussed a lot in the past. Protecting privacy of employees, of customers, because AI deals with the big data, the collection of information, and using this data responsibly. So some aspects that reflect my understanding, and I mean, the practitioners can also say their opinion on this. Now, under the arena of management, what digital transformations do businesses need? Obviously, upskilling managers to understand AI is very important, to understand and use AI. Perhaps some training courses could be important on this dimension. So upskilling so that they can understand the use of disruptive technologies, Industry 4.0 technologies, not merely the internet. So managers, we need more, smart managers that are able to sensitively manage the human-machine interface interaction within organizations, because eventually, if not evident now, it will eventually, be quite apparent as a clash within the organizations, or how they can effectively separate human from machine tasks. So we are researching, we are acknowledging that machines can take over more routine tasks, and the human can take more emotional, interpersonal aspects at work. So it is also the job of the manager to realize how to balance these tasks effectively within organizations. Or managers themselves, they can apply AI, machine learning, and other sorts of nurturing technologies to focus on more high-value activities, given that these technologies will be in a position to undertake some more routine managerial tasks. And also decision-making by replacing the information technologies that have been so far feeding managers with important information to make decisions. In the near future, this could be based on artificial intelligence, machine learning, which can provide more accurate, precise information to managers to make more precise, fast, accurate decisions. So under the arena of management, how can a sustainable digital future be accomplished? Obviously, managers should be AI leaders within organizations, and also the leaders in terms of making people aware of how this transition to AI can be done in a sustainable way. So these are the important individuals within organizations given their position to understand, manage, convey. They need to manage strategically the resources, goals, actions that are needed for digital transformation in sustainable ways. These are the people that they should manage change in a way that the well-being of employees need to be safeguarded. These are the leading figures that should ensure that the AI transition by organizations will be done in an ethical, transparent way, engaging employees. So if we find ways, if managers find ways to engage more employees and other stakeholders within and outside the organization into the digital transformation of the organization, this could be a way of doing it in a sustainable way, because obviously it will bring about benefits for the stakeholders of the organization. Now, under the area of ownership, and this concerns big and small organizations, so perhaps a shift to more blockchain-based ownership or converting existing assets, tangible and intangible digital tokens would be ways forward in terms of engaging more with digital transformation under the area of ownership. Now, in the field that I'm coming from, the family business, blockchain could be important in terms of helping these type of businesses to overcome some transparency issues from the eyes of external stakeholders, especially with regards to the way that family business owners are managing the transition, or they are avoiding or not nepotism within their organizations. So blockchain could help solve this issue of transparency. And again, making owners realize more the importance of adopting AI, because we come to understand that the more AI organizations adopt, the more highly valued will be in the market. So eventually it will be at the benefit of the owners to adopt technology, because they will have higher returns. At the same time, ownership continuity has more solid grounds, because the organization is obviously doing well. Now, okay, owner managers, and this is valid within particular organizations that are where the owners have a hands-on approach within organizations, and they should be, the real persons to lead the digital transformation of organizations, or the development of the needed dynamic capabilities organizations need to engage in digital transformation. And again, perhaps the leader figures that will convey the need to balance economic and non-economic goals. And concluding with this point here, perhaps we should shift to models of co-ownership around sustainable initiatives to bring businesses and stakeholders together, either at the local or the global basis, through the use of emerging technologies such as blockchain, which can bring different stakeholders together to set certain non-economic goals, such as protecting the environment, eradicating poverty, eliminating discrimination, so that through multi-endeavors, multi-sectoral partnerships between businesses, NGOs, the state, and other leading stakeholders, we can eventually bring businesses and other social stakeholders closer to realizing the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? Or yes? Yeah. No, let's have the question first.
Leonidas, thank you for the presentation and you are really good for this. I have a question. Is there any downside to any business to proceed through a digital transformation?
Disadvantage?
Yeah, I don't know.
I cannot think of a downside, but there are many different programs that they invest in helping businesses to adopt new digital infrastructures. So I don't see the downside. I was talking with Lisa later on previously, and I said that we have recently joined with other partners a bid of 4 million and 2.6 million will be given to young businesses in the area of tourism to engage in digital transformation, 30,000 each, and not a lot of monitoring. And you can do whatever you want, but prove us that you have digitalized somehow. So there is a lot of money invested in businesses to do this. I don't see any disadvantage in doing this. I see this only as a plus.
Okay.
I just
I
highlighted
think we'll
those
discuss
things.
more on the pan, so.
The panel is more appropriate. I'm a
Yeah.
theorist.
Okay. You know who you are. So, I'll
Yes.
invite you. You're all experienced panelists, so you know how to operate a mic, I believe. Okay, our panel is big, by the way. Yeah, I mean, the goal with these discussions is this will be the first panel actually, and what we want to. My work after monitoring 10 years now the ecosystem in Cyprus. My next work is at least for the next 2 years, at least my work. I hope other people is how to make this ecosystem more sustainable. And okay, because our ecosystem right now is growing, it's growing exponentially, I would say, with a lot of stuff happening. Actually, again, today in Cyprus there is another very prominent tech journalist in another event. Actually, Andrea, you were with him today.
Yes.
Yesterday.
I just came from there.
And yeah, at least my work, hopefully will be the work of other people in the ecosystem. It's how we do this more sustainable. But before that, I need to start with Elisa. Just 1 minute to introduce yourself, Elisa.
Hi everybody, I'm Elisa Lucaedo. Nice to be here again after a long time. And some old faces and some new faces. I work for Deloitte since 2011. I'm a director of the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. And I'm also running ARIS Accelerator programs in Innovation. So I think that's all.
Pass the mic. We have 1 minute to do.
Just one comment to the previous question. I think it's all about cost and benefit. Because if you spend, I don't know, millions on digital transformation, but if the benefit is not disproportionate to the cost, then I think it's just overspending on.
Yeah, it's like return on investment, you have to realize it.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm Kostas Tsilidis. I'm not new here at the back. Actually, when I came from the US around 2010, I started out at the back of the Marie Curie Fellowship. Spent some quality time here, set up some nice labs with colleagues. Since 2016, we went down the road of creating our own startups in the biotech field. So it's now 2022, have 3 startups, all up and running, all hopefully finding their way to the market sooner or later. So I am a biomedical engineer by training. So entrepreneurship is something that I learned along the way, but just point out the value of spending some time in the US, where both the educational model and the business model relies a lot on entrepreneurship and actually values innovation the way it should be valued. So.
Hello everybody, I'm really happy to be here. My name is Marina Nabok. I'm marketing director at MBO Diagnostics. MBO Diagnostics is a fast-growing biotech startup based in Nicosia, Cyprus. Basically, it's AI-empowered technologies for food, air, and water testing. So a few words about me, long story short, I'm 9 years in marketing research, designing, and etc. So I'm happy to be here.
Hi, my name is Pavlos Loizou. I'm the founder, one of the co-founders of a company called AskWire. We collect publicly available information to build granular property profiles of all properties in Cyprus, Greece, and now beyond. And we make that available to banks, insurance companies, and everybody else who needs detailed real estate information to sell, keep mortgages, sell online building insurance, to market studies, or whatever they need. My background is actually managing non-performing loans in distressed real estate. So I've had quite a bit of action over the last 10 years playing around with data, which typically it's the core of all of these things. I mean, none of these things work without data. And it seems that that's the bit that everybody seems to forget and nobody seems to talk about it. So AI and everything else is lovely, but unless somebody does the data entry in the right box, nothing works, however smart it is. Plus, just a comment, because I'm dealing with a company now that is wasting time building technology. The best thing if you want to sell and to do business is to go and meet people in person. Technology is an enabler, and it's a very easy way for people to hide behind. And it's also a very easy way for people to waste money. The only thing technology does is speed. That's all. Nothing else.
Hi, so thank you for the invitation. Yes, Spanish in the group. So I'm George Milis. I'm a worker in engineering, ICT, research and innovation for the last, since 2004, it's almost 20 years. My academic background is from electrical and computing engineering in Thessaloniki, then in London for AI, this nice keyword, and then in Cyprus for intelligent control systems. Back in 2008, I founded the first ICT company, Eurosci Innovations, which is until today dealing with in-government and adoption of technology in the society and education as domains. And then in 2016, we founded also Phoebe Research and Innovation, which is dealing with smart water systems, smart buildings, air quality, and we are using, again, this, we'll discuss more later, the keywords of machine learning and AI. So, thanks.
Hello, also from me. My name is Andras Theodosiou. I am the founder and director of a company, Lumoscribe, which is based in Paphos. So we're working in photonics. We're developing optical fiber sensors and fiber lasers. And my background is electrical engineering, and I am a graduate of the Cyprus University of Technology. My PhD was from here in 2018. So that's for me.
Hello everybody, I'm also a graduate of, from the Cyprus University of Technology, the Electrical Engineering Department. My name is Marios Sakidis. I'm here in the capacity of director at Infotropic Tech. It's a new company working on Web3 technologies. So we specialize in blockchain, privacy engineering, and protocol design. This is my first panel actually, so glad to be here.
Thank you, Marius. Hi everyone, my name is Andreas Matikolonis. My background is in engineering as well, but I have nothing to do with engineering, even if I have a PhD. I'm in finance. I work in a family office investment firm. We do investments in many areas from cannabis, space exploration, photonics, fintech, general tech, general. But we also have a company in Switzerland where we have the first crypto-related yield-generating fund. So essentially, I'm a fund manager, and we also do investments. My role is senior investment analyst. Thank you.
Just to clarify, medical journalism.
Everything.
Yeah, we are in a country that still cannabis.
It's about anyway. So actually, we do have a cannabis fund here.
Medical, yeah, there is. Okay, let's get into the discussion. I have 2 questions. maybe question to ask you. I mean, what it means for you or your company to have a better, sustainable tech innovation ecosystem inside. Let's start with that.
Yeah, that's since I hold the microphone. So, first of all, from my side, so basically, as you have seen, we have people from at the panel from different industries. So, in my case, I'll talk about finance and investments. So, we do investments essentially because a family office, we have funds, and we need to invest as much as possible. In our case, it's very difficult to find something in Cyprus to invest into because we don't invest in startups. We want to invest in late seed, early Series A, and I'm sure everybody's following. And with this respect, if we build a local ecosystem, it will be able to actually invest in businesses based in Cyprus and also boost the ecosystem as well. And by doing this, not just by giving money to the local companies, but also new opportunities can arise to sponsor events, so on and so forth. And I think Cyprus is moving forward towards this achievement, let's say, because we never had such an ecosystem. It's building slowly. We have seen many initiatives coming up all the time. This morning, as actually I was Park Lane at the conference organized by the Chamber of Commerce and Industry in collaboration with the Cyprus-China Business Association. We're trying to collaborate with other countries. And of course, probably you have heard about Tech Island as well. It's an open organization where their mission is also to build an ecosystem related to technology in Cyprus. And it's very, very important for us as a family office investment firm to be able to invest locally and not only internationally as well. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to reiterate Matikolonis' points on kind of growing the local ecosystem because for those who are already here for the last decade, they know how Limassol is changing, which is actually, yeah, like we cannot hide it even. Like the moment you step your foot in Cyprus, you understand how multicultural it has become and how diverse the ecosystem is growing. So, from my point of view, I would like to see initiatives like Tech Island and all these associations also supporting the local talent a bit more. So, I would like to see initiatives that don't only have to do with how we can attract people from abroad, but how we can cultivate a culture where it is also closer to what Cyprus is kind of stands for, as in we know that Cyprus, for example, has a very strong family business sector, as Dr. Hazilias has mentioned. But we also know that, for instance, over the previous decades, we had a very strong sector of cooperative co-ops businesses. So, yeah, I would like to see businesses focusing on the local talent, having kind of empowering the local people, but also having a global vision about outreach and the products that they produce.
So for me, innovation is a bit challenging as a concept since we spend money, efforts, resources, and at the end of the day, we need to transform these resources and efforts to a commercial value for our organization, the commerce. So based on that, a sustainable tech and innovation ecosystem need to have four gradients, as I see. The first one is people. So we need people that are willing to innovate and people which will put this innovation in the right track. We need, of course, protection. So we need to protect our technology, our intellectual properties. So we need some people, so teams that will help us to protect this properties. The third one is strategy. So either as a country or as individuals, we need to have a plan how to make a value for our commercial value from our innovations. And the fourth one, of course, is the fuel. So we need to have some funding opportunities to support our activities.
So, of course, all positions here are very interesting and very to the point. So we are all trying to give some different perspectives, some new ideas. So I will start by, I have two quite young kids, and whenever they come asking for something, I always ask, what does it mean first? So before you try to answer 1 + 1 or 8 divided by 2, you need to understand why. What does it mean for you? So I will do the same for us now. So I want to develop a digital ecosystem, an innovative ecosystem. So what do we mean by innovation? For me, is we are all Homo sapiens. We are here and acting like we act today because some other entities of the same species were innovating. So we wouldn't have been here if there was no innovation, which means innovation means using the resources in a more optimal way, reducing cost in general. There is always a cost function that we want to minimize. Name the cost. It's time, it's money, it's lack of comfort of people, etc. So we have to innovate. Otherwise, there will be no Homo sapiens in the future if we don't manage to innovate now. And it's not about a keyword. It's exactly for optimizing something, optimizing some resources, optimizing the time we use to achieve something, which goes also to a question before, optimizing the money we spend for something. And then we go to ecosystem. We cannot do it alone. We need an ecosystem is the enabler for to take us through this journey of innovation. Digital, I will agree with Pavlos here, is a tool. It's a tool, a very important tool, because it helps to achieve the rest of the items I mentioned. We use AI, it's a keyword again, there is a lot of things behind. We use these tools in order to optimize some of the cost functions we have. And for us as a business, since we consider ourselves as builders of these tools, of the digital tools, but of the concept of innovation in general, it's the way of existence. So we exist in order to achieve this innovation. And if we have a mature and sustainable ecosystem in Cyprus, it's going to be easier for us to exist. I started in 2008. It was not the same as we have today. So there was nothing close to what we have today. So there have been many steps taken in these 14 years. And there's a lot to be done in order to really call it sustainable. Let's not go into the discussion of sustainable yet.
I think we need to distinguish, we need to explain what is happening. All these companies that have arrived on the island over the last decade, first of all, they have been here for longer. They are here for taxes, no other reason. Right? 2.5% corporate tax on anything that you create here and resell, 50% taxation for everybody who makes more than 50,000 euros. And easy visas for Ukrainian, Russians, and everybody else. We are a tax haven again, which is what we have been doing. Basically, post-1974, this is our main business. What that means is that we have attracted all these individuals and this incredible talent. But how do we link this talent with everything else that is happening? There are universities being created. But what are the universities' purpose? We have truly managed universities. Are they here to do research and provide and have people study to have actual degrees? What are the mechanisms for people to get a visa and an entry into the EU? When we talk about sustainability, as the professor has mentioned earlier, and when we talk about business, business is about solving problems. For any ecosystem or any a business to be sustainable, to have life, it needs to solve a problem. This is number one. So whatever the business is going to be that will leverage technology, first of all, you need to start by solving the problems of Cypriot companies. And I say Cypriot because Cyprus, the one thing that Cyprus has is not the weather. The one thing that Cyprus has is that it's a controlled ecosystem and controlled market. If you think about Cyprus, the 900,000 people that we are, it's amazing. We are 80% foreigners, actually, sorry, 79% locals, 21% foreigners, right? This is great. You have a lot of countries, a lot of nationalities who live here, so you can test different things. You have 4 million tourists, you have different sectors, so actually somewhere where you're going to start and use Cyprus as an incubator and to test your product is great. So if you start, first of all, by solving the problems of companies that are based in Cyprus, then it becomes easier to see how you're going to scale it from here to take it further. But I emphasize the need to distinguish clearly between the noise of what is happening and the reality. It's very split, and I think the people who live in Limassol understand it, that it's two different worlds that we are experiencing.
Yes, I totally agree with you guys. I wanted to start with really, sentence, the system and talking about startups. Why startups are starting to build something? Because, why? They want to change something. And we're based in Cyprus. Building ecosystem in Cyprus, we have to start from building and changing the people's life. I will go deeper rather than you to not change the business in Cyprus, but to change people's lives in Cyprus. Because we're here, what ecosystem is to you? It's people. It's people, it's workers, it's employees, it's companies, business, and etc. If we go into the level further. So build an ecosystem for Cyprus, for MPO in Cyprus, for MPO diagnostics means changing the people's for firstly lives and then businesses' lives. Because MPO Diagnostics, our CEO and founder Konstantinos Loizou started MPO Diagnostic from understanding that something's happening with the food, something bad happening with the food, and the food in Cyprus is not that high level as it used to be, as it has to be. So we have invented, a really small device for testing the food, for pesticides, for salmonella, for listeria. Do you remember the Kinder case with listeria, with salmonella? It was, oh my gosh, and it influenced the people's lives. So the purpose of MPO Diagnostics, building, first of all, ecosystem of healthy living and environment, healthy living in Cyprus, and then in Europe, USA, and whatever states you want to mention. So yes, ecosystem for MPO Diagnostic is changing the lives to be better.
Coming from the biotech sector, related to MPO, but a little bit more medical, you immediately think of risk. If you form a startup trying to find, to develop a new cancer drug, we're talking about 10 or 15 years of development, lots of money for R&D, and a small percentage of success, currently less than 10%. So my experience, starting 3 startups, all biotech related, all at different stages of risk and amount of risk. I think an ecosystem, supportive ecosystem requires a change of culture, which was mentioned earlier. It's critical. Coming from the US, where these things happen naturally, in Cyprus, not so much. And it's up to young people actually to, fight and be persistent when they form their own startups to actually bring about change. We're not going to bring about change so much from government bureaucrats or from long established family businesses. It's from young startups who have the drive and the motivation to succeed. And in Cyprus, we need to change the culture. That culture will bring in more capital for risky projects. It will bring in talented people, Cypriots who want to come back to Cyprus, foreigners who are attracted to Cyprus. So I think it's slowly happening, but it's going to take many years. So, but that's not a bad thing. The good thing is we're in Limassol, most of us, and Limassol is turning out to be a nice tech hub that has a lot of features of a tech hub you would find abroad. So, if you isolate Limassol from the rest of Cyprus and you look at the companies that are attracted and set up base here, they bring in their money, they bring in their talent. I think it's not so bad. When we started out 5 years ago, definitely it was a lot different. You're talking about 10 years ago, but even 5 years ago it was different. When we approached our first investors to form our first biotech, which is Theramir, developing cancer drugs, people were laughing at that. But nowadays it's different because we don't have to talk to family business owners or Cypriots who make their money in traditional ways. We can look around in Limassol and very easily find investors who lived abroad, companies who come from abroad and are here in Cyprus and want to invest in Cypriot startups. And it's actually a much different story. So ecosystem is, for me, it's about culture. If the culture changes even a bit, then everything else will come. Capital and people and tools, technology, that will bring in success.
Yeah, I fully agree with everybody. I think, well, from my perspective, coming from a professional services organization and from ARIS, which is an accelerator supporting startups, of course, our goal is to support the new companies to be sustainable. And it's very important to have such successful companies, and we're very much happy that we have MBO and all these companies. Of course, George's company that I have known since a long time ago, that we can see they have all this potential to be sustainable. And well, from my perspective, what I always say when I join these discussions is that many years ago, so when Bunny started to get involved with the ecosystem, we saw a lot of initiatives from bottom up, and things were really happening and they were great, but they were not so visible. Nowadays, we see a lot of initiatives from top down and some government initiatives and a lot of noise, as you said. But the truth, I think, from my point of view, is somewhere in the middle. We need to act as enablers, all of us, to make the two come somewhere in the middle in order to make a real change, I think.
Yeah, actually, Elisa, you're spot on because currently, okay, I know this ecosystem from the beginning. Maybe some of you are not, George was here, then Elisa. But yeah, actually, I think we need more top grassroots initiatives to get into. We have top down a lot now, but we're missing on the, as you said, the bottom up initiatives. And yeah, by the way, something I didn't mention is that the other panel discussions, now we have startup founders, if you see, or people that they work in the private sector. We plan to do a similar thing with Parliament members and even NGOs like Tech Island and other NGOs. So we want to gather in the next 3, 4, 6 months, let's say, all these views and then come with a roadmap if we can. My second question, I will combine some stuff. I want you to share some suggestions. We already some of you already share some. And also, I want you, nobody mentioned branding and marketing because I believe, okay, you build something good, there is noise, of course, but I don't believe we're doing the right noise in branding and marketing in Cyprus, at least abroad. We have a lot of noise, let's say, in Cyprus, locally, a lot of events, etc. But I believe we need better, so I would love to have your suggestions on that aspect also. Please.
Well, I'm not an expert on branding and marketing, but from my experience, 20 years now in the consulting sector, I would say that it's we are not going to create a strong ecosystem just by tweeting and posting on social media and promoting ourselves. Of course, these are very nice tools, and paid campaigns always help to raise awareness. But I think the best way to promote our ecosystem is by strengthening the position of all these new companies and promising startups, and by storytelling. And the storytelling is very simple, but in my opinion, it's the best way to promote our ecosystem. And going to your first question about suggestions, etc., I think we don't have to reinvent the wheel, of course. We are always behind others. These discussions have been going on for many decades elsewhere. So I think Cyprus is a very interesting case because what the Tech Island has been doing now with the mapping of the ecosystem, it's one of the first steps that usually happens in other countries. So mapping the ecosystem is a great initiative, and even now.
Try.
Yes.
The last 5 years, or people can fund what
Yes.
Tech Island did in 1 month.
Yeah.
Well, of course, okay. Good-
Yes,
good
I
on
mean,
Tech Island.
Yeah, at least, I mean, now there is a platform and the information is gathered somewhere, so technology really helps to put everything together. But yes, the mapping the ecosystem, I will go back to what Marina emphasized, that the ecosystem is about people, so system building. I think this is the key to strengthening the ecosystem and working together. I mean, it doesn't really help us if Elisa, who is dealing with startups, always complains that there is no funding, and then Andreas complains that there are no mature companies to give funding to. So let's all work together to achieve the sustainability of companies.
I just want to say that there is funding now. Things are much different, much better. If I know that if you could find good startups in Cyprus worth investing, you would, and you can find them if you look for them. You can find them. There is funding. And now you mentioned Tech Island. It's self-evident that we should have mapped the ecosystem a long time ago. It's a good thing that they are doing it, and I think Tech Island is doing something else that's useful. It's turning into a lobby that can push, hopefully, governments and government bureaucrats to do more. Because there are a lot of companies behind it, and there is some weight to this initiative, and I think it can bring about changes. And you mentioned storytelling. Highlighting success stories is huge for Cyprus, because it's one of the only ways you can convince people that this thing can be done in Cyprus. I think once people come from abroad, meet Cypriot startups and meet promising, young, motivated people, they realize that there are good opportunities in Cyprus. I see that all the time with investors. We need to do more about highlighting the success stories, and that's what government can help, pushing, giving more help to companies that have products in the market and require some help in selling and give tax incentives not only to R&D, which are doing now, but to finished products as well, so that we can move beyond the the valley of death of startups. Yeah, I would like to see even more initiatives like that. I think we're on the right track.
Okay, getting back to marketing, I could talk long about the marketing, but I won't, not to waste your time. But the answer lies in the question: what's marketing communication? It's communication. So I had a great experience promoting big brands and startups. I had experience in marketing research. So from that point of view, I can definitely tell. So communication is the simplest and the fastest way to promote your both companies, product, devices, solutions, whatever. Okay, so storytelling, as Elisa said, and best case, showcasing the best cases, best practices of how you solve the problem. Because creating some new device, new solution, you always start from what is the problem, and you ask for it. For example, the problem is the bad quality of the water in Cyprus. So what would be the solution? The solution would be some device or solution to test and evaluate this water. Okay, let's see, where can I imply this solution? For example, municipality water in Cyprus. Okay, you imply, and what's then? You go to LinkedIn, you go to Instagram or Facebook, whatever social media, you make paid posts, but you're not talking about the exact best case, the use cases that you've done. How did you implement your solution? Tell more about this. It's few minutes of work just telling the best cases, the best practices. Communicate, visit forums, visit as much as you can. Talk to people. Word by mouth is the best tool of marketing. Talk, communicate. Tell more about your implementations. Tell more about your even small but goals, even small but partners. So my answer to this question: how should we brand? How should we marketing for startups be done here in Cyprus? This communication. It's very easy. Just communicate to people. That's it.
Three elements here. I can tell you by a simple comparison between Greece and Cyprus. We're very simply, we're a 2-year-old company. We had to move to Greece because the level of openness by companies is not there. So in Greece, companies, and elsewhere, by the way, companies are not only willing to engage with startups, they want to engage with startups, and they have instructions from further up to engage with startups. Now, this is important because startups need clients, right? I'm not talking about the ordinary client. You need a client to test your product. You need somebody to give you a chance to make sure that what you are doing works. This is the first thing. So companies in Cyprus are not even responsive to having a meeting, exchanging a phone call or anything. This is the first thing. So problem number one is a culture, people problem. Second are the students sitting at the back who are very disinterested, they last too long. Why? Because 90% of them want to go and work for the government, they want to go to work for the banks, they want to go and work for PwC or the sales as well. Very much there with Donny. So, and this is a culture problem. There is a culture problem which becomes wholly ridiculous in that the people who will make the money are the ones who are working for the startups, because 1 in 100 or 1 in 10 will make a dozen loads of money, and the person at the back who's sitting at PwC will be the one doing their accounts, and they will wonder why they didn't go. Younger people need to take risks, not only expect everything else from the other side. So again, it's a culture and a people. Branding wise, I can see a made in Cyprus sort of brand evolving, and that being more, let's say, collegiate approach to when we go out and market, whatever. And that can come, which the Greeks have done very well, by leveraging the Cypriot diaspora, which we haven't. We have not engaged the diaspora because the good thing with technology, the good thing with, I think what we are all doing here, is that nobody thinks that Cyprus is our market. Not thinks, we know it's our market. So if we leverage the diaspora has, they look at Cyprus with rose-tinted glasses, similar to the ones you wear. So
if you are a founder using only Cyprus, you will not be in my panel.
So this is the thing. So I can see you, for example, or the Twin Island, everybody else engaging the diaspora more and having a more back and forth discussion. I think these are the three ways forward. It's about companies engaging with startups, younger people taking risks because they stand to learn a lot more by working in a startup than working in a more standardized environment, a lot more. And then the third is about leveraging the diaspora to collaborate and push the country and the community forward.
I'm very excited to be in this panel. Wow. I can adopt every word of the people. So I appreciate a lot this branding, and we are all part of this motion towards the branding. And how we facilitate this is by doing our job. So cultural change, we're doing our job to change the culture and bring people, the students and everybody in the startups to take the risk. It's a real problem, yes? And we have to do our technologies. We have to communicate our technologies the way we know, not with the keywords. So we have to step backwards and forget about the keywords. I really mean this. Forget about AI, forget about machine learning. It's good when we write this in the proposals to get funding, but they add nothing to our everyday work. So we have to understand the problems and find solutions and show how we found solutions. And this is how we contribute to the branding. And then when we go abroad, we travel a lot. I mean, everybody here, I guess we are traveling abroad. We are the branding then. I mean, if we feel we are not selling the products there, we are selling ourselves. So, and I ask you as well, when you travel abroad, don't be these pathetic people. I mean, be confident. You are from Cyprus, so we have to be proud of where we are and sell yourself. You don't need to sell a product. Sell that we are trustworthy people and we know how to solve problems, and here's how we do it. Here's how we do it. Panis will help with promoting all the work we are doing, and gradually we will have the reputation that we need. And of course, the third pillar, we need the support by the infrastructure around us. It's the government, it's the funding opportunities that are there, public and private. We need it because we have to, we are competing with giants. For instance, in my field, there's Suez coming. It's a big company in the water industry. And they are buying Innovice, another company in Israel. They are buying a company in the UK. Why are they not? No one. I'm not saying they are buying. They are using their technologies and they find the value in that. Why they are not coming in Cyprus? They know us. Because we are not good enough? Might be. Is it because we have a small market and we don't have the power to compete with these giants? Might be. So we need the tools in order to achieve that. It's not about money. It's not only about money. Of course, money is an aspect here, but it's also about the full ecosystem. Going back, the full ecosystem to have one direction. That we want to have this new way of economy, this new economy. We're not going to sell only weather and services and financial and legal services. We're going to sell innovation, technology, specific things. Thanks.
So basically, I agree with everyone. I don't really have something more to mention. I will take some things for everyone, I will rephrase it, and I will express some, I will share some thoughts with you. Maybe are correct, maybe are wrong, I'm not sure. So about the question, what's the next step about our ecosystem? Recently, we classified it, categorizing as a strong innovators among the European countries. So I think the next step is to focus on the, as everyone else said, on the innovation culture. And I'm not mean in our community. And I'm explaining what I mean. From my understanding, what is happening now in Cyprus, all the technologies, or most of the technology is coming from the university. So they have some ideas, they take some funding. So we need to find some market that match the technology, make some analysis of the market, analyze the trends of the customers and their needs, and doing all of this stuff. So what if farmers or agriculture companies or doctors or any other kind of professionals here in Cyprus be part or involved in this procedure by the first step? I mean, university or research centers can find some way to collaborate with them and solve some real case solutions with the researchers. I think by doing that, in the future, we will have more industry-oriented products or technologies. We will create more innovation culture for everyone. And of course, we will improve the brand, the technology brand name of Cyprus. That's my thoughts about that.
I've just been thinking about all these amazing companies, amazing local companies and startups that they're just producing great products. And the diaspora, the Cypriot diaspora all around the world is doing just a great job. But at the same time, I think that the branding outside has to do with money laundering, passports, forex companies. So there is a mismatch here. And to be fair, I would like to avoid creating a society of two speeds, like having just very big companies with foreign interests, and then like the local students just supporting them, doing their accounting. I don't think that it's a matter of that we go abroad and we present ourselves as scammers. It's like it's just, I was teaching computer science module here at this university last year, and fourth year students. And once they graduated, most of them, they were working either for surveillance, the adult industry, gambling, forex. So I really appreciate that we are treating cancer. This is like really great. The only thing I can say is that I agree that we also need bottom-up approaches in changing this culture. And yeah, I commit to actually hosting a tech event. That's the only thing I can do.
We'll do more, don't worry.
So I think we can divide the branding and communication into internal and external. Internally in Cyprus, first of all, is education. We need to educate ourselves. How is it to start a business? Yes. I remember when I was in school, I was like, okay, so now I have to choose where I'm going to study, what I'm going to study. When I'm 16 years old, I'm playing video games. And nobody told me that I can also start a business, for example. We had no idea. So I think, first of all, the educational system needs to change, which is very difficult. And as Elon Musk well said, it's easier to send the missiles to the moon than change the educational system in the US, which is very true. And first of all, we need to have sessions like the one we have today. People like us to come and give initiatives to open the eyes sometimes to people. You also need to spend your own time and educate yourselves and understand what it's to start a business. And when you do this, when you understand how easy it is, and especially if you have some people, usually the parents, to cover your expenses, especially when you are in a young age, especially our culture that people leave home at 30 years old. So we can take this opportunity and actually start something and gamble a bit, risk a bit. It's fine. We're not talking about losing money now, but most probably you're going to lose some of your time if it fails, but you learn, and the learning process and the knowledge you gain is invaluable. It's amazing. So this internally, obviously, we need to have the infrastructure. Next year, we're having the European Investment Fund is launching in Cyprus initially. It's about 30 million and probably it's going to go to 40 million. So there will be funds for a startup ecosystem, to develop the startup ecosystem. So if there are people who are willing to do something, or there are startups, they will get funding to build the ecosystem even further. And this is very important. Now, externally. Externally, in terms of branding and communication, usually we hear about Israel. Why is everybody talking about Israel and how amazing they are? I think we are better than Israel. First of all, we're in the EU and we have many nationalities here, and obviously the tax, which is much lower than them, corporate and personal as well, and many more benefits. The main reason we hear about Israel is because it had success stories. So they managed to get many unicorn companies, which means they were valuated over 1 billion. This is a unicorn status, and that's why it became famous. So if we manage to start an ecosystem in Cyprus where we have people making new companies, new startups, and the funding exists, as you can see, money is always in the market. Even if the media say there is a recession or a disaster, whatever, money is there. Okay, it just change hands. So essentially, if we have an ecosystem which will develop something new, something innovative, to fulfill a change, to make something new, and once we start having success stories, Cyprus will be on the map. And because of our position and geographic position, our incentives, many things essentially, we will be at the top of the chain when it comes down to startups. And I think these are the two pillars we can focus on in terms of branding and communication. Thank you.
Cool. Great suggestions. Just a few things on that. Okay, it's good to say that we are strong innovators, but take into consideration that by saying that you're a strong innovator, the European funds will become less. So, because the Europe will give now is giving more money to the companies, to the countries that actually are lower than you, just to develop their ecosystems. And also in that, if you analyze that results, you will see that the public funding towards SMEs is one of the lowest in Europe.
Yes, the funds allocated though, the 30 million minimum.
Yeah, a lot
It's to go in Cyprus, so the company should apply. Obviously, they need to put the effort to read and understand.
Next year it will go up because we have the EI fund,
Yes,
we have
exactly.
other funds coming, Cape East funds.
It's funds for Cyprus, will go only in Cyprus this amount, so use it. Otherwise, goes wasted.
I don't know in respect of the ranking if European Investment Fund will classify as public funding.
Now it's for the startups.
But that's something else. What I mean is a lot of public funding goes to universities for other purposes. That's again good. We need to balance things out somehow. I was planning to give for some questions, but because the food is here, I don't want to get cold, etc. I believe let's do questions outside with drinks, foods, etc. Many thanks for your coming. Many thanks for the people out there watching the live stream. Many thanks for you. Also, some of you helped also live case program that Dr. Ines is running. Also, next semester is out as the development of another lesson, as they do every year. I will wish you all I will keep storytelling, that's my promise, about Cyprus, also in bigger venue, not only, this is what I'm doing actually the last 10 years. Yeah, let's have fun.
Thank you for having us. If you have any questions from the audience, just talk to us. Thank you.
Sorry.